Today, you're going to learn how to use possessive adjectives in Italian correctly. Italian adjectives can be really tricky when you learn Italian as they follow very different rules than English. The placement, the endings, the different types of Italian adjectives can really confuse students. But with this video, you will get super clear directions that will help you to use possessive adjectives in Italian correctly every time. And giving you clear directions about tricky Italian grammar topics is always my goal and the exact result I've been helping my students achieve. I'm Valentina Stella, native Italian tutor, top-rated tutor on the language learning platform Italki, where I've taught more than 4,000 Italian lessons so far. And if you want to know how to use possessive adjectives in Italian correctly and pick the right one easily every time, you will love this video. So keep watching and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now for more videos. So, if you want to use possessive adjectives in Italian correctly, there are a few crucial things that you need to realize and you need to focus. The first one is what adjectives are and how they work. What does adjective mean? Adjectives are words that give you more information about other words. So, for example, you could just say the word for house, casa, casa. But that wouldn't give me much information about what house you're talking about. But if you say a big house, una casa grande, or if you say a yellow house, una casa gialla, or if you say that house, quella casa, now you're giving more information and now I can understand you're talking about a specific house. I can understand and learn more about that house now. So remember, adjectives are words that give you more information about another word. This is very important in Italian to understand. Now, the second thing that you want to realize is what possessive adjectives are and why we need them. Possessive adjectives are words that give you more information about who possesses, who owns something. Now, notice that we use the word possessive and possession in a very loose sense. I can say la mia casa, my house, but I can also say my friend, la mia amica. That doesn't mean that I own my friend, of course, but that's still a possessive adjective. That means that the friend relates to me. Okay, so remember, never forget that possessive adjectives are words that give you more information about who possesses, about who owns something or someone, in a very broad sense, in a very loose sense. Okay, the third thing that you want to remember to realize is that possessive adjectives are just that. They are Italian adjectives. And so they follow the rule, the most important rule of all Italian adjectives, which is they must agree in gender and number to the noun they refer to. Now, this is the most common mistake when using possessive adjectives in Italian. This is where all students get confused. I know this very well, but follow me and this is going to be easy. Students, when they use possessive adjectives, students think of the gender of the owner. So if you say my house, they think of the gender of the owner of the house. But the point is that in Italian, we don't care about the gender of the owner. The only thing we care about is the gender of the noun the adjective is referring to, because that's the most important rule of Italian adjectives, of all Italian adjectives. The adjectives must agree with the gender and number of the noun they refer to. So we do not care for the gender of the owner, we only care for the gender of the noun the possessive adjective refers to. So let's make an example. Let's suppose I want to say my house. What gender will I take into account? The gender of the owner of the house, so my gender in this case, or the gender of the noun the adjective my is referring to, so the house in this case. I will pick the right possessive adjective, considering the gender of the house, of the noun, not my gender. So that's why we say la mia casa. And that applies even to a man, because casa is feminine. So remember, possessive adjectives must agree in gender and number to the noun they refer to. And don't worry, we're going to make a lot of examples in a moment. So remember, look at the gender of the word the possessive adjective refers to, not the gender of the owner. This is very, very important. This is going to save you anytime you feel like you don't know which one to pick. Okay, now let's learn which ones are the possessive adjectives in Italian, and let's practice together with some example sentences. Let's start with the complete Italian possessive adjective list. Now, what you can realize now that I explained the crucial aspects of adjectives in Italian is why we have 4 versions for each possessive adjective in English. That's because for one possessive adjective in English, like my, we need to have 4 different versions, 4 different translations, one for each of the possible cases. So we will have one version for masculine singular nouns. We will have one version for feminine singular nouns. We will have another version for masculine plural nouns. And finally, we will have another version for feminine plural nouns. That's because any adjective needs to change to match the gender and number of the noun it refers to, and we can have 4 different combinations, which are these ones. Okay, now let's actually learn them together, and let's practice them together. If you want, you can repeat after me, so you can also learn the pronunciation, the correct pronunciation of these Italian possessive adjectives. Let's start with my, mio, mio, mia, mia, miei, miei, mie, mie. Let's repeat them once more. Mio, mia, miei, mie. Molto bene. Remember, the trick for correct Italian pronunciation, and specifically for these possessive adjectives, is slow down. Take your time to articulate each one of the letters, especially the vowels. Just follow me, practice with me, and you will get this right. Okay, let's do your, and we're doing your for tu. So, tuo, tuo, tua, tua, tuoi, tuoi, tue, tue. Let's repeat them once more. Tuo, tua, tuoi, tue. Now let's do his and her. And as you can notice, we only have one version for both of them. We do not distinguish based on the gender of the owner, so if you want to say his or if you want to say her, that's the same in Italian. Suo, suo, sua, sua, suoi, suoi, sue, sue. Let's repeat them once more. Suo, sua, suoi, sue. Molto bene. Our, nostro, nostro, nostra, nostra, nostri, nostri, nostre, nostre. Let's repeat them once more. Nostro, nostra, nostri, nostre. Okay? If you want to say your for plural, so for voi, that's vostro, vostro, vostra, vostra, vostri, vostri, vostre. vostre. Let's repeat them once more. Vostro, vostra, vostri, vostre. Okay, and we are on to the final one, and I have some very good news for you. We just have one. If you want to say there in Italian, you just have one. That applies to all cases. Thank God some things are easier. So if you want to say there in Italian, that's loro. Loro. Loro applies to all the cases. It's the same for all the cases. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect, which is correct placement of Italian possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives in Italian usually go before the noun. And also, don't forget to use the article before them all. So, if you want to say my house in Italian, the adjective goes in front of the noun like in English, but then we also put the article in front of them all. So, my house in Italian becomes la mia casa. La mia casa. Again, if you want to say your dog, the adjective goes in front of the noun, but before them all, we need to use the article. So your dog becomes il tuo cane. Il tuo cane. So remember, place the adjective in front of the noun and also place the article in front of them all. Now, there's an important exception, of course, we have plenty of exceptions in Italian. There's one important exception about the usage of article with possessive adjectives. We do not use the article when we talk about family members. In that case, we do not use the article with possessive adjectives. Now, let me know if you would like a more in-depth video on this specific topic on how to use possessive adjectives with family members, because it really deserves more time and targeted practice because it can be a little bit tricky. So if you would like to see that video, let me know by leaving a comment down below right now. Now, let's put everything together. Let's put everything we have learned together, and let me show you the exact process that I want you to use to pick the right possessive adjective. And with this process, you will always be right. So let's start with what you want to say. You want to say, for example, my cat. The first thing you need to know is to think of what the gender of that noun is in Italian. So think of how you say cat in Italian, and that's gatto. And then think, what is the gender number of this specific gatto word? And gatto is masculine and singular. The second thing, so the first thing you do is that you think of the gender of the noun. Gatto, masculine, singular. The second thing is that you pick the right possessive adjective with the same gender and number of the noun. So in this case, the noun is gatto, maschile, singolare, masculine, singular. So you need to pick the right form of my, which is masculine singular, the ones that we went through together. And the way of saying my, masculine singular, is mio. Mio. So notice how mio is referring to cat, not me, the cat. Mio. Then the third thing I want you to do is that you place the adjective before the noun and don't forget the article. So we have mio gatto, and we also put the article in front of it, il mio gatto. And that's how you say my cat, il mio gatto. That's the process that I want you to follow. If you follow this process, you're always going to pick the right possessive adjective. And believe me, this is going to become second nature for you if you practice this a little bit. And so, why don't we practice this together right now? So, let's see a few more examples. Let's suppose you want to say your city. Let's start with the noun, city, città, città. That's feminine singular. So this feminine singular form for your is tua, tua. Then we place everything in the right place, and that's la tua città. Your city, la tua città. Molto bene. Let's do one more. Oh, a few more actually. His shoes. Now, let's start with the noun. Don't look at the his, just look at the noun, shoes. Shoes in Italian is scarpe. So scarpe is feminine plural. Therefore, we need to pick the right possessive adjectives for feminine plural his, and that's sue. Sue. So, if we want to say his shoes, in Italian that is le sue scarpe. Le sue scarpe. Now I have a tricky question for you. How would you say her shoes? Just take a moment to think about that. Well, in Italian, her shoes would be le sue scarpe. And it's the same. Le sue scarpe in Italian means both her shoes and his shoes. Why? Well, you now know why. Because we don't care about the gender of the owner when using possessive adjectives. The only thing that we care for is the gender of the noun. And if you say her or you say his shoes, shoes is still the same word, which is scarpe, feminine plural. And so you will always use sue, which is the feminine plural form of her or his in Italian. So remember, her and his are the same in Italian. We don't care, we don't distinguish. We just say le sue scarpe. Okay, let's do one more example to use the process so that you can really absorb it. If you want to say our books, let's start with the noun. Books is libri. So it's masculine plural, libri. If you want to say our for masculine plural nouns, that's nostri. Nostri. Therefore, if you want to say our books, that in Italian is i nostri libri. I nostri libri. Okay, there you have it. How to use possessive adjectives in Italian correctly and the exact process to help you pick the right one all the time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my YouTube channel right now for more. Just click on the subscribe button below this video. And now, let me hear from you. What else would you like to learn and practice regarding Italian adjectives? Maybe you would like another video with more examples or a more in-depth video on how to use possessive adjectives when talking about family or any other request. Let me know by leaving a comment down below right now. For today, that's it. Ciao da Valentina.